Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to the channel. First of all, happy Dussehra to all of you, and may this year be great for you and you get your dream college, and yes, any dreams may get fulfilled. Okay, and next thing is that from this time I'm going to start your first chapter, not the first chapter but the second chapter of the chemistry, and that is structure of atoms. And please subscribe to the channel because I'm going to upload this thing regularly. And yes, so first today is the first lecture of the chapter, and this is a very basic chapter and very important for all the rest of the chapters. So I'm not going in the NCERT sequence, but I'm looking at the chapters which is really basic for you, and you need to complete it up first and then we will start it. Okay, and then we will go to the higher levels of the chapter so that you can understand it better. Okay. And next thing is that I hope if you have read anything, if you have watched any lectures before of this channel, then you might know I used to teach everything kind of a basic level, like I complete NCERT and I just extend a little bit. I don't go like a advanced level study, so that if you are a board student or if you are preparing for any competitive exams, then that would be great for you, because you will first basic is very important, then you should practice more and more questions to improve your knowledge. So that's what I want to tell you. This chapter, now I will teach this chapter. This is the first lecture, so you can understand how is the strategy of the of my videos. Okay, and next thing is that let's get started. I will not waste any single of your time now. Okay, let me start it. Okay, so first thing is that this is the structure of atoms, and let's study the introduction. This is from the NCERT lines. Okay, you can just open your NCERT books and you can start like seeing the things, and if anything important you can underline also. So the existence of atom has been proposed since the time of early Indian and Greek philosophers 400 BC, and who were the view of that atoms are the fundamental building blocks of matter. So this is written here in the first line that yes, the existence of atoms were known before also, but like no theories were. That was like the very first things. So for that reason, a lot of theories were very like which is now disproved. So that's what we will learn it in the further things. So according to them, the continued subdivisions of matter would ultimately yield atoms which would not further be divisible. So this line, just look at this line here. In this line you can see here it is written that according to them, the continued subdivisions of matter ultimately yield atoms which would not be further divisible. So it means according to them, according to previous scientists, like the very early scientists, according to them, atoms are not further divisible. So they are indivisible. But we know कि inside atoms there are a lot of things like protons है उसमें neutrons है, and it has also electrons, positron, antiproton, a lot of things, a lot of subatomic particles. So it's not that this is a disproved theory. Okay, and another thing is that the word atom has been derived from the Greek word atomia. Yes, this is not that important, but you need to know this because it's a very basic thing, right? And which means uncuttable or non-divisible. These early ideas were mere speculations and there was no way to test them experimentally. These remained dormant for a very long time and were revived again by scientists in the 19th century. So these were the just theories. These were not experimentally proved. So for the reason, a lot of scientists used to believe them, a lot of scientists would not believe them. But due to these things only, scientists thought of experimenting these things. So these ideas were great for that reason. Otherwise, if nothing were known, then what will be the what would scientists experimented? So that's the thing. So then what happened? The atomic theory of matter was first proposed on a firm scientific basis by John Dalton. He was the first scientist to experimentally prove these things. A British school teacher in 1808, his theory called Dalton's atomic theory regarded the atom as the ultimately like a particle. He was the first known scientist actually. Okay, so for discovering these things like atoms and all, because before there were a lot of theories. Okay, and Dalton's atomic theory, what was his theory? His theory was the law of conservation of mass, law of constant composition, and law of multiple proportion. Okay, these three are their theories. Sorry, it has okay, no problem. Law of multiple proportion, very successfully. However, it failed to explain the results of many experiments. For example, like it was known that substances like glass or ebonite, when rubbed with silk or fur, get electrically charged. Okay, so he gave three theories, like that the law of conservation of mass, atoms follows that thing, and law of constant composition and law of multiple proportion. So these I will discuss in the further units, like unit 1 actually these things are there. So I will further discuss this thing in a detail in that chapter. So now you just know ki yes, these were the theories which were failed to explain the results of many experiments. So like the results like experiment, when that was proved experimentally, there were a lot of like loopholes were there. Okay, if you have done anything in the childhood, in your childhood, like if you know ki there is a, like suppose let's take a simple example, like a comb is there. If you just comb your hair and then you like stick it on a paper, like some paper, just pieces of paper, just sprayed it and then just try to attract it, and the paper pieces used to get attracted to the comb. Why? That's because of these whole electrically charged things, because of the electrons. So this I will discuss in the further things, but you just know this thing. Yeah, I think like you have done this experiment before also, because ये कोई नहीं कर, ये सब करते हैं ये चीज़. Okay, ऐसे कोई नहीं है जो ये नहीं किया होगा, but अगर आपने नहीं किया है then you just do it now. Okay, so that thing. And yes, so this is the thing, like electrically it is to get charged. So now no, a lot of scientists in their mind it came that how this is now happening. So this is a very different thing which is deviating the law. Okay, now let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so discovery of the subatomic particles, and by this thing which I have explained now, the comb wala experiment, and from that thing now scientists thought ki yes, something is there which is making these things, like a lot of things are happening. Now let's study in the further, like an insight into the structure of atom was obtained from the experiments on electrical discharge through gases. Before we discuss these results, we need to keep in mind a basic rule regarding the behavior of charged particles. Like charges repel each other and unlike charges attract each other. I hope this you might be knowing this thing, because it's a very simple thing, but if you don't know, let me explain it again. See, subatomic particles are what? We know this thing, that it is electrons, it is protons, it is neutrons, and a lot of like positron, antiproton, a lot of are there. But like what are the properties of them? The properties of one of the thing which is observed by the scientists, okay, how this is happening. They thought the questions is to come, and these curious minds have made these all our lives very easier. Okay, so yes, now curious minds, what they thought ki how this see, suppose for example I'm taking a magnet. Okay, a magnet is there. If this is a north magnet, okay, let me just take a bar magnet. This is the north south and this is the south side. And if we'll take another magnet and we take this side north and this side south of this magnet, then if we'll take this two closer, then these two will repel each other. That we know. Okay, this will happen. Yes, that will happen. And this thing, if I will take another okay, let me do like this. If I will do like this, okay, I will take this side north and this side south, and I will just take the south side this side and north side, then these two will attract each other. Okay, this what a magnet happens. And what is like charges? Like charges means equal charges, like north and north, these two are equal charges. These are like charges. If I will take one north and one north charge, then they will repel each other. But if I will take one south and another north, then they will attract each other. What are they? South and north, different charges. So that is what? Unlike charges. So simple things. Okay, so that is what made I just took a example of the magnet, but yes, just this happens in the case of charges also, like positive and negative charges. Okay, let me do that also. Otherwise, if any doubts that might get clear. Okay, this is a positive charge and this is a negative charge. If we'll bring these two charges together, then they two will attract each other. But if I'll take a positive or a negative and negative charge, then these two will repel each other, and here is the same thing will happen. Okay, I hope you have understood these things. This is a very simple and fundamental thing, because I just want all of you to know all the basic things, because these are what will define you, or you will give you ranks or your percentage or your marks, whatever you are studying for. Or if you are studying for your future, that's also great, because these basic things, if we should not ignore these things. Okay, that's really important. Okay, and yes, let me move to the next slide. Okay, this is the cathode rays. We'll talk about the cathode rays. This is not from the NCERT, the lines, but yes, I have written it so that you will be, it will make you easier. If you want to write it, then you can write, because some extra things which I will teach you, just please write it down somewhere with your make your notes, because it will be helpful for you. Like, see, this is the cathode rays. It was by whom it was discovered? It was, yes, in NCERT it is written, but it is written very, like, it makes confusing. Some points are in the NCERT is confusing and it's not direct. So for that reason, I have written a lot of things so that you can note it down in the sides of NCERT, and it will be best if you will make one copy. Okay, or a notes copy or whatever. And okay, let me start this thing. So it was discovered by William Crookes and Julius Plucker. Okay, these cathode rays were discovered by them. So first thing, let's talk about the discharge tube. Okay, I think you might not be knowing this thing. Let me show you the diagram first. Okay, here there is a cathode. Okay, some like it has removed. Okay, this side is the cathode, this side is the anode. This is the positive and here is the negative one. And what happened here? There is a vacuum pump is there, and here is a high voltage. And what about the pressure? Pressure is very low in this case. Okay, if pressure will be not low, then this experiment will not work. And yes, so what happened? This is known as discharge tube. So this discharge tube वाला experiment ना बहुत सारे लोग तब, बहुत सारे scientists तब ये कर रहे थे. So like it was like a famous thing. Like अभी चल रहा है ना वो जो क्या reels बना रहे हैं सब लोग. तो वैसे ही like एक बीच में चल रहा था that all the people in the starting of the lockdown all started doing the dalgona coffee. I hope you have done also. So like that. तो वैसे बीच में वो जो ट्रेंड चलता रहता है, those trends वैसे ही फॉलो करते थे साइंटिस्ट भी. तो वैसे तब बीच में बहुत ज़्यादा चल रहा था डिस्चार्ज ट्यूब वाला एक्सपेरिमेंट, एंड बाय दैट वी ऑल द मिस्ट्रीज वर क्लियर्ड. ओके, थैंक गॉड टू द ट्रेंड्स. ओके, एंड यस, सो लेट मी just teach you this thing. So when we put the gas inside the discharge tubes, so that in a low pressure, I have discussed this before also, we need to get it into a low pressure, and it is electrically sparked. Okay, because there I think you have seen that thing, high voltage. Okay, this high voltage is given, and some invisible radiations released from cathode and moved towards anode. This is known as cathode rays. What happened? Okay, see, let me explain you again this thing. This is the cathode one. Okay, so when gas is introduced inside this, any gas, suppose H2, N2, whatever it may be, when gas is introduced into it, then high voltage is provided, so and also low pressure is given. Then what happens? We saw कि one invisible radiations, invisible from cathode to anode is getting transferred. What was that? That was a curious for the scientists, and that was known as cathode rays. Cathode rays were themselves not visible. Yes, now I will explain this thing also. What happened is that when scientists saw this thing, see, when cathode rays were not there, like cathode rays used to transfer like this, but it is invisible particles. Okay, we cannot see them. So there is a like here is some like fluorescent material which is phosphorescent or fluorescent, you can say. These metals were introduced here, and when it is struck by this, when these particles were struck by this glowed. Okay, by that we understood ki yes, this is this point, there is something which is coming from this negative charge and transferring to this positive charge. What is that? That is cathode. Okay, so simple and so nice. Okay, this thing, because this is a very basic thing. Now yes, that thing only written here, that cathode rays themselves are not visible, but their behavior can be observed with the help of certain kind of materials like the phosphorescent or the fluorescent materials which glow when hit by them. Okay, same thing. Now let's let's move on. Yes, so anode rays. Anode rays was discovered by Eugene Goldstein, and the residue of the cathode rays placed in discharge tube at a very low temperature by using perforated cathode in the middle of the discharge tube, and it is electrically sparked, and from this some glow were produced behind the cathode, and that was known as anode rays. Okay, so simple. Okay, let me describe you, because I hope you are getting confused. Okay, this diagram is like, okay, let me do again this thing. See, actually what happened in the first experiment that you have seen, this cathode rays were transferring from the cathode end to the anode end. Okay, and in the middle there, in this experiment for the anode rays, this experiment, what we did, we just put a perforated cathode here, and by this what happened, when we connected this thing, then anode rays, from this anode rays, all the particles got transferred to this side. Okay, this is so simple. And then what happened, glow again produced, and from that we understood ki yes, something is there which is coming from this side also, and that is anode rays. Okay, that's it. Okay, don't get confused from this diagram. Here fluorescent coating is given here. That's because the cathode ray discharge tube with perforated anode it is showing. So, but here I am talking about the perforated cathode. So that's simple. This diagram I have taken from the NCERT. So for that reason. Okay, so I have you have understood. Let me explain this again if you have not understood till now. Again, let me explain. See, what happened is that on the residue of the cathode rays we have seen from the cathode end to the anode end, a lot of particles were transferring, and that was known as cathode rays, because when it hit at the back of the anode rays, some some lights kind of produced there, right? The fluorescent coating, due to the fluorescent coating, there was some glow which was produced. For that it is proved that something is passing from here to here, and that was known as cathode rays. But in the anode rays, what we did, we put that perforated cathode. What is perforated cathode? When we take something and we just like pin it, or like kind of we just make it like you have seen the jali kind of hota hai, jo jali. Okay, so wahi bolte hain net. Okay, net, yes, that's so simple, net. Okay, so that kind of is when that is done, then what happened is that the cathode rays that was captured there, and when we provided low temperature along with low pressure along with high voltage, then some kind of a circuit is created, and for that what happened, anode rays which was this side, that started passing from here to here, and there that side there is a glow produced when we put a fluorescent or the phosphorescent material. That's so simple. That is what happened. Okay, so from by that we proved that something is there, like not we, the scientist, that is Eugene Goldstein, he proved that something is there which is also known as anode rays, which is opposite of that charge. Okay, so now let's learn the properties, which is the last thing of this whole lecture. Okay, this is the properties. So I have created like this boxes so that you can know the difference between them or the similarities between them. Okay, so cathode rays and anode rays. So first thing is that they travel in straight line. Both, it is applicable for both the things. They both travel in the straight line. And how we know that thing? see, when we put, like when cathode rays or anode rays, anything, because they both are same, when it is transferring some, if we put any metal object, then if there is that produce any shadow, which is a sharp shadow like this, the shadow should be sharp, so that shadow is produced, and that by that we know ki yes, this is traveling in a straight line. And next thing is that it has kinetic energy. This is also applicable for both. Another thing is that yes, this is different from, obviously it will be different. What it is, when electric field is attracted towards positive pole, it means it is negatively charged. Okay, and when here electric field is attracted towards the, when electric field, in electric field, when we provide electric field, that time it is getting attracted towards the negative pole, so it means it is positively charged. So simple. I said now, like charges repel each other, unlike charges attract each other. So simple. From that, this statement is written. Now it can penetrate thin metal sheet. It is also applicable for both things, like anode rays and cathode rays. Both can penetrate thin metal sheets, and cathode rays can ionize the gases. Same with the anode rays, that can also ionize the gases. And what are the difference? There are only two differences. The first I have explained in the electric field wala wo jo hai. And another is the characteristics of the cathode. When we provide, it doesn't actually depend on the nature of the gas or the material of the electron. So it doesn't depend. The cathode rays doesn't depend on the gas, nature of the gas. But in case of this anode rays, that always depend on the nature of the gas. So no, that only on the residual gas or the nature of the residual gas you can tell, because the residual gas, what is that residual gas? Anyone, can you recall what I have taught now, ki how this anode rays was proved? When the cathode rays were transferred and then they were they was captured in the perforated cathode, and that from that side again anode rays started, from that end only it started, so that is not residual gas. Okay, for that reason only we are referring this as residual gas. Okay, so simple. Now I hope this is completed now. Thank you so much for next class. Yes, next class what we'll do, we'll start all the subatomic particles, the electrons, protons, and like antiprotons, neutrons, a lot of are there, mesons are also there. So we'll learn a little about all the things. Most important is electron, proton, and neutron. That is the most important one. But all the rest of else also you need to know. Okay. Okay. So thanks for watching. Please do subscribe to the channel, and yes, thanks. And please, I will upload regularly, so daily basis. I thought of uploading a daily basis, so please subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell notification so that you will be updated. Okay, the time will be fixed. I know, I'm just coming with my schedule, and then I will tell you a perfect time. Okay, now I can't say, but please watch these lectures regularly, so I will tell you which time every day the lectures will be uploaded. Okay, thank you so much.